YouTube, welcome back. And welcome to episode 1 of Cupppa's Coach's Corner. Now, we already have the situation series where I break down specific situations that I'm in, what I'm thinking, how I approach the fight. But I wanted to take a step back and give you immediate tips that you can implement into your game. Hence, Cuppa's Coach's Corner. I'm going to be your coach. Now, if you find this content helpful or simply just like watching the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Our goal for today is 25 likes, so let's see if we can get there. In episode 1, I want to talk about my 3 tips for better accuracy, so let's get into it. Okay, when we talk about getting better accuracy, the first thing that I want to talk about is your sensitivity. And when we talk about sensitivity, there's really 5 things I want to take a look at. Dead zone, horizontal stick sensitivity, vertical stick sensitivity, ADS sensitivity multiplier low zoom, and high zoom. So first up, dead zone. If you put this down to 0 and your stick moves without you touching it, you have what's called stick drift. So you're gonna wanna bump this up until your stick stops moving. Even if it moves the slightest little bit, keep bumping it up. See, mine's still moving just a touch there. So I'm gonna bump it up to 0.2 where I know it stops moving. And the reason being is, while it may not seem like a lot, when you aim down sight, it does move. That's going to affect your accuracy. So you wanna make sure that's bumped up to a point where the stick is not moving and you have complete control over what you do with your gun and how you aim. Now, next up, horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity. I believe default is 4, it is. And I want you to try out different sensitivities. Some of the elite gamers are on 6.6, some of the elite gamers are on 2020. There is a difference between console and PC because of your field of view, which is a conversation for another day. But I want you to try out different sensitivities. I personally always played on, I believe, 6.6 a while back. And one day I was just messing around. I bumped it up to 15.15 and loved it. So then I ended up staying up there for a while and bumped it down a little bit. And I settled in on console at about, I want to say about 10 or 12. Being on PC with FOV, I've bumped it down to 8, and this is just where I feel comfortable. So I want you to try different sensitivities and see how it feels for you. The different sensitivities allow you to move quicker that way. Of course, they allow you to move quicker. They allow you to snap on people. You know, if there's somebody I'm shooting here and I need to snap, I can snap easier. So try out different things, see what feels most comfortable. At the end of the day, you can always bump it down, but I want you to try higher sensitivities to see how you like it. Also, I will say that your horizontal and vertical stick sensitivities can be different. Say you are, what I call a heavy pull, so you tend to pull too far down on it, right? That's a little over exaggerated, but you pull too far down, you can definitely keep bumping your vertical stick sensitivity down a little bit so it's not as sensitive. If if you have trouble going like this, tracking opponent, make sure you bump your horizontal down. They don't have to be the same number. Ultimately, mess around with these, see what feels best for you. Now, sensitivity multiplier. This just means what is your sensitivity when you're ADSing, when you're actually aim down sight. And this is another one. I want you to explore combinations of what is the best combination of your horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity with that multiplier. I found out right now I'm at 881. But when I was on console, I think I was at about 12, maybe a 0.75, because I liked being able to move quickly this way, but I noticed that when I was ADSing, I was still a little bit too fast. So I might have bumped it down a little bit more. So that's essentially what you're looking at. And I'll show you right here, horizontal stick sensitivity at 12, ADS sensitivity multiplier 0.7. Here's what it looks like. I'm basically moving that as fast as possible, right? I'm just going left, right? Now, if you were to bump it up to 1, you're going to see how quick this thing moves. I mean, it's just, right? So that's super quick. And ultimately, it depends on what you can hit your shots with. If you have confidence that you could be shooting a guy here, snap, and then still hold it steady, then go ahead and run that. That's what feels most comfortable for you. But I would definitely encourage you to mess around with different sensitivities, different ADS multipliers. In this case, I've noticed that when I have snipers where it's a 3.25x scope or more, I tend to miss my shots a little bit. I tend to over exaggerate the snap. So I've bumped it down a little bit to be more comfortable with that. So that's kind of part 1 of having better accuracy, is making sure you feel comfortable controlling that right stick and you have your sensitivity set to the right setting. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is recoil patterns. And this is something that I don't think people talk about enough. No matter what gun you use, no matter what attachments you use, your gun is going to have a unique recoil pattern. I'm going to show 3 here for you. I have the MAC-10, the FFAR, and the AMAX. 3 pretty viable guns right now. And notice how all 3 guns have a different recoil pattern. Now, if I try to control each one the same way, I'm not going to be able to hit my shots. So it's crucial that I understand the recoil pattern for the gun and the setup that I'm using. And it's super simple to test. Make sure you have it set up, drop into Plunder, or wait till you get your loadout in normal Warzone. You're gonna find a wall and shoot it without touching the right stick. This is gonna give you what your recoil pattern looks like. This is how the gun is gonna move if you don't touch the right stick at all. Now, ultimately what your goal is to understand how it's gonna move so that you can move your right stick or your mouse to control the recoil pattern the best way possible. And over time, you're going to get better at it. You're going to learn it more so that you understand basically how to make it a cluster instead of wild and all over the place. So number 2 is the recoil pattern. I want you to understand the recoil pattern for the gun that you're using. Make sure you test it out and then just learn how to control that right stick so that you can hit more shots with it. So I want to just show you one example here in Stadium. Again, 12 meters is not that far, but even at 12 meters or 13 meters, the recoil pattern is actually pretty high. So as you can see, I actually finish above the crate, and that's what the recoil pattern for the FFAR looks like. It goes up to the right, up to the left, and then straight up and to the right. Now, as you continue to get better, as you warm up on a day-to-day basis, you should be able to control it so that it's a small little cluster as opposed to, what it looks like there, which is just crazy. And that's still an okay recoil pattern, okay control. It can still be better, but notice how it's a small little cluster. If you were to put somebody's body up against here, yes, I'm hitting all body shots, but you're essentially still hitting every single bullet, and that's the goal. Once you can hit every single bullet, then you can focus more on headshots and learning how to let your gun roll to the head and then balancing. The third tip that I can give you when it comes to getting better accuracy is repetition. The more repetition you can get with the guns that you like using, the more comfortable you're going to feel, the more shots you're going to hit, you're going to start to understand that recoil pattern and be able to really narrow it down to a small area that's going to allow you to hit more shots. Right now, I think the best way to get this repetition is Plunder, and here's why. Warzone is played on the modern warfare mechanics. So your slide canceling, your jump peeking, your bunny hopping, that's all coming from the modern warfare side of movement, not Cold War. Cold War is completely different. Because of the fact that the meta right now is Cold War weapons, you cannot use them when playing bots on modern warfare. So the best way to do this is to drop into Plunder. You're already going to have your loadout off spawn, and you're going to be able to go around shooting people, testing it out, and really getting that repetition in. The added benefit of Plunder is that you're going to be put in tough spots. It is a modified battle royale. You're running around with plates. Obviously, the objective is different and you respawn, but you're going to be put in similar situations than you will in Warzone. You might be in Storage Town, stuck in a crate with 1 plate. Somebody's pushing you. Maybe 2 guys are pushing you. You have to figure out how to get out of that situation. So I would suggest dropping into Plunder, basically going for as many kills as possible. Make sure you drop in hot locations. Those hot locations tend to be Storage Town, Airport, Boneyard, and Superstore. So make sure you're dropping one of those 4 and just trying to get as many kills as possible. Learn that recoil pattern, get that repetition in, and it's really going to help your accuracy. So there's my 3 tips for better accuracy. Play around with your sensitivity to see what feels most comfortable for you. Understand the recoil patterns for the gun that you use, and get that repetition in. If you enjoyed the content, as I said, make sure you hit that like button. Our goal for today is 25 likes. And as I always say, let's get better today, and I'll see you next time.